One is perhaps you can form like a peer support group, just look around your colleagues, the more trusted ones. And it's not just a peer support group. Maybe you can kind of analyze the work situation objectively. Perhaps sometimes it's me, myself being too sensitive, but if there's like a group objective lens, and you may even turn it around and say, okay, so how can we help our bosses manage us better? How should we communicate? Is there any maybe SOPs that we should change such that we could minimize certain tensions at work? So I think a peer support network would help. Secondly, I'm a strong believer that HR plays a tremendous role in kind of changing and preserving and set the tone for the culture, right, at the workplace. So if your employee facing a really challenging situation, do seriously consider to have a private conversation with your HR. Or I know of like maybe some of the bigger companies, they even have anonymous whistleblowing kind of platform if it gets that bad. So do reach out to HR, because HR should be the one governing and influencing the culture, and to manage your bosses as well in some situations.
Should being the operative word, exactly, because not every HR department is effective just putting this up there. Sometimes they're actually colluding or finding ways to defend the person
I agree with
who's
you.
pulling, because that's the person who brings in the most revenue. This is how this nasty world very often works. I like something you said there, Ariel, about having a support group, because I think very often, if it's an honest group, sometimes you are messing up and you almost need someone to tell you, actually, you know what, you could improve your output by doing X, Y, and Z. So make sure that you've got honest people around you, experienced people as well, because if you're all sort of graduate recruits who've been in the job for 2 weeks and you're feeling that this is a toxic environment because you've had to close a deal and work 18 hours a day, and everybody else around you is doing that, but you're playing victim, that victim mentality doesn't always help. So there's something to be said about getting that honest feedback. And, this applies to life more broadly. When you receive feedback or you have that angry person, always ask, as we've said earlier on, is there anything that I'm doing? Less about what they're going through. Is there anything that I could be doing that justifies what's being said? So if it's on the spelling mistakes, for instance, that you mentioned, or then perhaps this is about me taking more time to read through my stuff, and the objective is more about quality than it is about speed. And if that's the case, then let me spend a little bit more time working on that. But there are things very often that we can do to address this, or just understanding the language that your boss speaks and prefers. So if you've got the boss who just wants to get to the bottom line, you want to give a long story. They're not interested in the backstory. They just want to know what it means in financial terms. Start speaking their language.
And another thing, just make sure that these are trusted people if they are within your company, because you don't want any gossip to go out, and that could bite you in the butt and make things worse.
They don't always have to be from your company as well. I mean, I always say find yourself a mentor. It doesn't matter if that mentor works in the same company, as a previous boss, as a previous teacher, as a family friend, as someone in the business world that understands the business world that you trust, that becomes your mentor. That person's always going to be honest with you, and that person's always going to play devil's advocate for you and tell you when it's on you and when it's not. And that person could very well be within your company and very well be not within the company. But always find yourself a mentor. Always find yourself someone, a mirror that you can bounce your ideas off of. That helps tremendously in these situations.
Absolutely. And it does get older to find mentors the older you get. I mean,
I've been blessed with one from a very, very, very young age, but yeah, I mean, it is crucial, and it does help a lot, because a lot of the times, I agree with you, Mucha, we over dramatize ourselves and we play the victim inadvertently, and we make the situation worse rather than better. The other thing is, and my second thing that I would say is, you control the dynamic in any relationship. I've said it before in this talk. I've said it to everyone that I mentor and that I work with, and I will say it always. You are always in control of the dynamic of any relationship you're in. Be conscious of that.